Have you ever wondered why some people approach you as if they were fascinated, but soon after pull away as if they saw something they weren't ready to face? Have you noticed how some admire you in silence, but can never manage to stay by your side for long? Have you noticed how you can walk into a place and, without saying a single word, completely change the mood, the glances, the atmosphere? This is not a coincidence. It's not imagination. And it's definitely not ego, it's spiritual. And the time has come to understand why. The truth is, you were never rejected. You were set apart. And that bothers people. It bothers them because your presence is not ordinary. Your spirit is not shallow. Your energy doesn't conform to environments that survive on masks and appearances. You were not called to be popular. You were chosen to be light. And light, when it enters a dark place, always provokes extreme reactions. It either heals or reveals. It either draws in or drives away. It either awakens or exposes. That's why so many want you close, but few have the structure to stay. They say you're too much, that you're intense, mysterious, inaccessible. But what they don't have the courage to say is that your presence forces them to see parts of themselves that are still asleep. You're not difficult. You're deep. And in a world that thrives on superficiality, that is frightening, that throws people off balance, that exposes, you are not here to please. You were sent to awaken. An awakening will never be comfortable, but it will always be necessary. And before we continue, I need to ask you something that may seem simple, but has become increasingly important. Check now if you're still subscribed to this channel. YouTube has been quietly removing subscriptions from many profiles, especially those who follow content like this. If your subscription has disappeared, click now to resubscribe. It's your way of telling the universe, I recognize this truth and I want to keep receiving what strengthens me. Because what's going to be said here today is not just a message, it's a confirmation. An answer your spirit has been asking for a long time. You are not for everyone. And it is precisely for that reason that you were chosen. There is something in you that cannot be explained, but everyone feels it. Your presence, even in silence, carries a power that pierces through defenses, exposes vulnerabilities, and breaks down carefully built illusions of those around you. You don't need to confront anyone with sharp words or aggressive postures. You just have to be. You just have to walk with your truth lit. And suddenly, without understanding why, people feel naked in front of you. Not physically, but emotionally, spiritually. You are like a mirror that doesn't flatter. You reflect what is real. And that, for those who live in escape and performance, is terrifying. That's why so many seek you out and then disappear. That's why some praise you, but at the same time avoid you. Because while they believe they are drawn to your beauty, intelligence, or charisma, what really pulls them close is something else. It's the lightness you carry, the peace you exhale, the invisible alignment you built through pains no one saw. And when they feel it, they come close thinking they can bathe in your light without having to cross the shadows you face to earn it. But they soon realize that's not possible, because your energy is not superficial, it demands truth. And where there is true light, there is no room for hiding places. You're not the type of person who fits in. You unsettle what was asleep. You're not the type who softens. You ignite. And those who have long lived behind masks feel threatened by the intensity you carry in your eyes, your voice, your silence, because you don't allow the illusion to remain intact. You provoke awakening, and awakening always hurts at first. And that's why many label you as too intense, hard to understand, inaccessible, but what they're really saying is, I don't know how to handle what you make me feel. Because you force them to face the part they prefer to bury. You show them, unintentionally, that there is something beyond the image, that there is an unhealed wound, an unconquered fear, an unlived truth, and that's not easy to accept. So instead of being grateful for the revelation, many run from it. They run from you. They crave your calm, but can't bear the chaos you overcame to reach it. They want your maturity, but aren't ready for the responsibility of walking by your side. They come near seeking inspiration, But when they encounter the intensity of your spiritual field, they get scared because they realize that they can't stay on the surface when they're near someone who has already plunged into the depths of their own soul. And the most curious thing is that many of these encounters, even the brief ones, transform, even if they never say it to you, even if they never return, because you leave a mark. You leave an impression that doesn't fade. You are a spiritual memory, a trigger of awareness. And that's why some will love you in silence and others will hate you for what only you were able to reveal within them. It's not about being loved or rejected. It's about being real. And those who are real always divide the room because your presence does not allow neutrality. It either awakens or repels. And that is exactly why you were chosen, not to be accepted, but to ignite. It's so easy to admire someone after the pain has passed, after the glow reappears, after the firm posture settles in, after the gaze gains depth and the steps become steady. People look at you today and see balance, serenity, presence, but they forget or choose to forget that this peace that now dwells in you was earned through struggle. That it's not about luck nor a kind destiny, but about a long journey through territories many wouldn't be able to endure. You weren't born with this strength. You built it. With every disappointment you chose not to avenge, with every silence you endured when the world ignored you, with every hidden tear that turned into a prayer, with every loss you transformed into momentum. This peace that now surrounds you didn't come from a spiritual retreat, nor from a motivational book. It was forged in sleepless nights, in inner conversations, in lonely decisions, in deserts that seemed endless. And for that reason, it cannot be measured, nor copied, nor faked. But what many do is exactly that. They want your peace like someone wanting a perfume, something they can spray on themselves without needing to understand where it comes from. They come close, feeling good around you, comfortable, even illuminated, but they have no idea that the light that now warms others once burned you from the inside. They weren't there when you broke down. They didn't hear the voices trying to stop you. They didn't see the days you begged God for strength to keep going. They only see what's left after the storm, not the damage it caused. And so they mistake your glow for privilege, when in truth, it's a scar, when it's a testimony, when it's a war mark, because you went to war and came back whole, not because you were spared, but because you chose not to lose yourself. You chose not to grow bitter. You chose not to be corrupted. You overcame yourself, and that is the greatest of victories. And that's what bothers them, because your presence silently reminds them that everyone has choices, but not everyone has the courage to face them. So instead of acknowledging your journey, they prefer to criticize you. They say you think too highly of yourself, that you changed too much, that you're not the same anymore. And they're right about one thing: you have changed. You'll never again be the one who accepts less than you deserve. Never again the one who begs for acceptance. Never again the one who silences your pain to please others. You changed because you chose to live instead of merely survive. And that gave you a peace that can't be bought, a peace that can't be explained, a peace that unsettles those who are still at war with themselves. They wanted your peace without facing the process. They wanted your light without going through the darkness. They wanted your fruits without planting in the same soil. And when they realized that's not possible, they backed off. They rejected. They judged. Because they're not yet ready to do what you did, look inward and change. That's why you were chosen. Not just to have peace, but to be the living reminder that peace is possible, even after pain, even after loss, even after the war. What confuses the people around you the most is not just how much you've changed, but the way you bloomed in silence. How you survived in barren lands, without support, without an audience, without applause. And now that your light is beginning to be seen, that your strength has become noticeable, that your presence asserts itself naturally, everyone wants to taste the fruit. They want to take part in the harvest. They want a seat at the table. But they forget or prefer to pretend that they weren't there when you planted the seed. Where were they when you watered your soul with tears and silence? Where were they on the days you felt like giving up, but chose to keep going? Where were they when your pain was ignored, when your worth was underestimated, when your presence was merely tolerated but never truly embraced. No one comes near the roots, but everyone wants to taste the sweetness of the fruit. And that's when you begin to clearly see who is real, because the real ones stay through the winter. They help dig, clean, and sow. They don't wait for flowers. They water the ground with you. Most of the people who seek you today have no memory of your pain, only desire for your energy. But those who didn't see your tears don't deserve your laughter. Those who didn't reach out in the valley have no guaranteed place on the mountaintop. Because your light today wasn't lit by them, it was lit despite them. And that's why you can now discern who came to share and who only came to consume. There are those who say they always believed in you, but you remember the absences well, the silences, the excuses, the closed doors. And now, when you walk with your head held high, with discernment in your eyes and purpose in your steps, they want to reconnect. But it's not love, it's convenience, it's interest. It's an attempt to harvest what they never planted. And you matured, not out of coldness, but out of wisdom. You learned that your harvest is sacred, that your fruits were born out of pain, surrender, and faith. That your journey wasn't a public show, but an intimate crossing between you and God. And now that the heavens are revealing you, now that the winds are blowing in your favor, you have the right to protect what you built in secret. It's not pride, it's awareness, it's not revenge, it's discernment. You don't deny love, you just no longer accept crumbs. You're not arrogant, you just don't give yourself anymore to those who see you as an inexhaustible source of energy. The time when you begged for recognition is over. Now, anyone who wants to walk beside you will have to understand that your light has a story, that your peace has roots, and that no one harvests from your garden without first respecting the soil where you bled in order to bloom. There are those who try to understand you as if you were a character, as if your impact were the result of an exotic temperament, personality traits, a combination of behaviors that could be explained, categorized, and, with luck, imitated. But the truth is, you don't fit that mold, because you are not just a person with different traits. You are a frequency, an energetic field that carries a vibration which cannot be deciphered by human labels. You are not an emotional construct, you are a spiritual code, and many don't have the slightest inner structure to sustain that level of energy nearby. When you enter a place, it's not just a figure that appears, it's a field that opens, an atmosphere that changes. A kind of presence that, even in silence, imposes stillness, reflection, even discomfort. And not because you impose yourself aggressively, but because your vibration doesn't match other people's masks. Your frequency is pure truth, and truth, when it arrives, dismantles. It tears down facades, breaks conventions, disarms the ego. That's why so many feel chills around you, why so many call you too intense, enigmatic, hard to read. You're not the difficult one. It's their field that's unaccustomed to that much authenticity. What they don't realize is that they're not rejecting you. They're rejecting what your energy reveals in them. The discomfort they feel doesn't come from your words, your posture, your way of being. It comes from how your light exposes where shadows still exist inside them. The nervous system reacts. The soul stirs. The subconscious defends itself. Because you don't vibrate at the same frequency as the superficiality that keeps them asleep. You vibrate in the calling, and that scares them. Many will try to come close to you without understanding that your energy is not a toy, that your presence is not a stage for insecurities nor a shelter for vanities. Those who are unwilling to grow, retreat. Those who don't want to change, get irritated. Those who live in illusion, reject you. Because your frequency is like a filter. Only those willing to adjust their own heart will remain by your side. And you are no longer here to dim your light, to lower your vibration, to fit into spaces that do not welcome your essence. You've learned that those who can't handle you are simply not ready to evolve with you. Your energy is your spiritual identity. Your frequency is your divine seal. And no matter how many try to label you, limit you, or mold you, the truth is simple. You were not sent into this world to be understood. You were sent to be felt. And those who can't handle what they feel simply weren't made to stay. The world has learned to love distorted mirrors, the kind that soften what's hard to face, that disguise what needs to be confronted, that cover the truth with filters of convenience. People say they want authenticity, but in practice, most can only handle the reflection that reinforces their own illusions. They don't want to see who they truly are. They want to confirm what they already believe themselves to be, and that is exactly where you become a problem or a threat. You are not the kind of mirror that beautifies lies. You are the kind of mirror that reflects the soul, and those who are used to running from themselves will do everything they can to run from you too. Because your presence, even unintentionally, reveals what is hidden, illuminates what was ignored, shows what was denied. And those who are not yet ready for that confrontation will accuse you of being harsh, cold, demanding. But deep down, what really bothers them is that you force them to see what they don't want to acknowledge. You've already noticed this. When you speak sincerely, the room tenses. When you choose to be direct, people back away. When you tell the truth, even with love, it feels like you've committed a crime. Because people want validation, not clarity. They don't want to be awakened, they want to be comforted, even if they live asleep. But you weren't chosen to massage egos. You were chosen to awaken consciousness. An awakening, by definition, is uncomfortable. It uninstalls. It causes disruption. Because you can't keep sleeping once the light enters. And that's exactly what you do. Wherever you go, the light comes with you. And where the light arrives, what was hidden starts to scream. Some will accuse you of being the one who causes conflict, but the truth is something else. You simply reveal what was already unresolved inside them. Your presence confronts emotional inertia, self-deception, spiritual hypocrisy, and those who are not ready to change prefer to attack the mirror rather than face the image. So don't be surprised by the distance, the silence, the sideways glances. In many cases, that's a sign that you fulfilled your purpose. You reflected the truth. But there are also the rare ones. Those who, even trembling inside, remain in front of the mirror, who recognize the pain of seeing, but also the beauty of being set free. Those are the ones who truly matter, because they are the ones who are waiting for you, and they are the ones who will understand that the initial discomfort was only the beginning of healing. You were chosen for this, to be clarity even when it hurts, to be truth even when it repels, because the world is already full of illusions, but mirrors like you, there are still few. We live in a time where people build edited versions of themselves to display to the world. They know exactly how to pose, how to smile, how to say what pleases. Every post is an attempt to appear happier, stronger, more aware, even when the soul is falling apart inside. Social media has become a showcase of characters, and everyone, in some way, has learned to perform. Everyone, except you. You're not on that stage. You don't act, you don't pretend. You are. And that is perhaps your greatest offense to those still trying to be accepted. Because your presence, unfiltered, unscripted, unrehearsed, reveals something that cannot be copied. Your authenticity disarms. Your truth confronts. Your way of existing, with integrity and coherence, shows the world that it is possible to be whole without needing to sell yourself. They look at you and feel a discomfort they can't explain, because everything about you is real. Your light comes from the soul, not the image. Your gaze carries experience, not strategy. Your words vibrate with purpose, not marketing, and that makes all their efforts, all their devotion to performance seem empty. Your existence in silence screams, it is possible to live without pretending. And for those who built their identity on appearances, that is almost a threat. They won't say it, but they feel it. They feel that you don't need likes to feel loved, that you don't need the approval of a crowd to know who you are. They feel that you are a living reminder that it is possible to be deep in a shallow world, and that stirs something. That triggers comparison. That awakens envy. Because you are what they pretend to be, and pretending is exhausting. Some will try to come close to you to absorb that energy. They'll want to seem similar. They'll try to copy your style, your speech, even your words, but they won't be able to sustain it. Because what you carry is not visual, it's spiritual. It wasn't taught, it was lived. It's not appearance, it's essence. And essence can't be faked. Either you have it or you don't. Others will distance themselves, not because of a lack of admiration, but because of too much insecurity. Because they know that around you, everything false inside them begins to crumble. But that's not your fault. It's just the natural effect of a soul that chose to live in truth. You're not here to compete with characters. You're here to remind people that being is more powerful than appearing. So keep going. Keep being that presence that doesn't need spotlights to shine. Keep walking in integrity, even when it seems no one is watching. Because your authenticity is a seed, a light, a liberation. And even if it unsettles many, it will heal those who are truly ready. You spent a lifetime wondering why so many came close and then suddenly disappeared. Why you drew looks of admiration, but also of judgment. Why your company seemed desired and at the same time unbearable for some. But now you understand. You were never just a pretty face in a crowd. You have always been a rare presence in a shallow world. You were never here to fit in. You were sent to shake things up, to awaken, to remind forgotten souls of what is truth, what is essence, what is calling. That's why many loved you and ran, desired you and feared you. That's why you walk so long between acceptance and loneliness, between empathy and distance. Because what you carry, that light, that frequency, that truth, is not for everyone, but it is exactly for that reason that you were chosen. You were set apart to impact, not to fit in. You were prepared to transform, not to entertain. And you were spiritually coded with a mission that not everyone will be able to recognize, but the right ones will never forget. Those who were sent to you will know. They will feel. They will recognize what's in your eyes, your energy, your silence. They will understand that your pain became a code, that your solitude became a portal, that your healing became a path. They won't need you to explain yourself because they'll be vibrating at the same frequency. And it is for them that you exist. It is for them that you endured. And it is with them that you will build what only the chosen ones can raise. So, if this message touched your spirit, don't keep it to yourself. Comment 111 below, not as just a number, but as a seal, a code, a silent confirmation to heaven that you heard, you recognized, and you are ready to continue your journey as someone who now understands your own purpose. Comment 111 and let the light that dwells in you manifest in the invisible too. And if you haven't done so yet, subscribe to this channel right now. Not for me, but for you. Because what's being revealed here is not content, it's calling, it's code, it's mission. And with each new message, your soul will remember who you are and where you came from. Because you are being revealed now, because the world needs your light.